Okay, wow. Welcome everyone. It is December 21st, 2022. Wow. What does that add up to? That would be 3 plus 3 plus 6, right? So 6, 6 would be 18. No, 6, 6 is 12.
So
So,
that's three.
which is 3 again, right? So, yeah, it's winter solstice, right? Kelly, you want to touch on that?
Um, I don't feel like I'm super knowledgeable on winter solstice.
Yeah, I'm not too either. It is the shortest day of the year, right? Or yeah, the
Yeah.
shortest day. And then we start turning towards the light more and more as we go into the longest day of the year, which is June 21st. So it is also the day that the doesn't the serpent come down Chichen Itza? Like it,
Chichen Itza.
yeah, Chichen Itza. It snakes down somehow, the light.
I haven't heard that either.
Oh, really? Oh, gosh.
I haven't.
And it's a red solar Earth day. He's just looking it up. So I pulse in order to evolve, realizing synchronicity. I seal the matrix of navigation with the solar tone of intention. I am guided by the power of space. So space meaning expanded consciousness, right? Keep these areas waxed. So we have peripheral vision, right? So Kelly, tell us a little bit. You've been doing a lot of videos, or a few already. Just starting kind of a little bit of a series on different politicians. You called it rogue politicians, or what did you? You had a good name for
I'm
them,
I'm calling the series, what did I call it? Diabolical leaders
right? That's what
in
it was.
quotations.
Yeah,
Yeah, so I've done a couple so far. Bill Gates is my next one. Been trying to figure out the whole green screen thing. But yeah, I'm going to do a body language reading on him. I'm going to show him in motion and the tells that I see that don't line up with what he's saying. And then I've done Klaus Schwab, which is so funny. I had some friends and I was talking a little bit of crap about the World Economic Forum, and they're like, "Oh, we're going to do security for the World Economic Forum." I'm like, "Great, you should watch my face reading on Klaus Schwab."
yeah. Well, yeah. You could even do like with Bill Gates. I mean, add clothing too. Right? Why he wears those silly sweaters, right? Pink and their pastel colors and yeah. So
Yeah, I'm going to focus mostly on the body language, especially for Bill Gates. The guy is so insecure when he talks. He's crossing his arms a
yeah,
lot. He's constantly like squeezing his shoulder, like very nervous. And anytime he's about to say a lie, he's like, he does a big swallow, like trying to swallow his words. I also noticed that um, he hides these two fingers a lot when he talks, the
uh,
pinky and the ring finger. So communication and ambition. Hiding that. Yeah, there's a lot of insecurity in how he talks. Not to mention he's got those tiny lips. He's tight-lipped, even though he's out there telling everybody else what to do. He's tight-lipped. He's holding
yeah.
some stuff in.
Also, the fingers that would be not showing these two would be his inner world, right? When you put your
Mm-hmm.
the spiritual finger, I'm number one on the seam of the pants. What's behind him? So what's inside of him? That's yeah, especially in hand reading. It's that's a good one to look at.
Yeah, and I also noticed like he's always talking like this, really protective of what's going on inside, not wanting to show it, not feeling anything, right? His neck is coming forward a lot, so he's got to cut off feelings to stay so diabolical.
Well, it's amazing once you start looking deeper and deeper. I mean, because we see people flashing, and I what I'll notice, is certain little things. But then once you start going in and studying, you seem to see more and more and more as you focus in and zero in on something. and not what they're saying with their words. It's more what they're not
Yeah.
saying.
I mean, what is it? 7% of communication is the actual words. The rest of it is intonation, body language, all of that. There's something I notice about his voice too. It sounds a lot like a frog. Like it doesn't sound like it's really coming from deep within him. It's like somewhere up here.
So speaking from the head, usually when they're not using their whole body, like as a
Yeah.
speaker, like volume. Yeah.
And it also tells me it's not coming from his own depth. It's
Mm.
some line that's been told to him to say. That's what I would get from that.
You get a little creeped out with Klaus Schwab.
Yeah, you know what was the most interesting thing about Klaus Schwab's face is the massive gap between his nose and his lips. It looks like a solid, 1.5 inches, 2 inches between the two. I mean, it's so noticeable. And one of the people in your group actually asked about it. And so I felt into it a little bit. And I'm curious what you think about it too, what you're sensing, because it's so big. It's like there's a big disconnect between um yeah, like a disconnect between what he's putting out there and what his true creativity is.
Yeah, well, see, lips is sacral chakra, so it's creativity. So there's a long ways between solar plex and sacral chakra. So obviously he's in his head a lot. If you looked at the zones, it was quite a bit on top, very small in his emotional zone, and then in his physical zone, where we look from the bottom of the nose, right? It was here again, this length in here, the plethrum, I believe it's called plethrum, and that's a channel to your own intuition. Remember, the bowl of the lip is the
Yeah,
bigger the bowl, the stronger the intuition. But he
the
didn't have,
sensing. Yeah.
yeah, the sensitivity to your own intuition. So he's listening to his head, really. And he had a big physical zone also, quite large. Uh,
He did, but he also had a very weak chin.
yeah, well, for sure. And he doesn't have much of a jaw either, as solid. Uh, but here again, what sticks out for me is the small emotional zone. So it's kind of squished between the mental and the physical, right?
Hmm.
So,
Yeah.
so since they can't get in touch with their own intuition, that's probably why they want to take us into transhumanism, because they don't have to be creative. They let the computers do the creativity, like.
And it's interesting you mention about the intuition. I, Actually, what's intuitively coming through for me right now is they're intentionally ignoring their intuition, because our intuition is connected to our soul, which is connected to source, which is connected to truth and love. And in order to keep continuing down their diabolical path, they've got to cut that off. That's why we see so many with their necks coming forward, right? They can't feel what
Yeah.
they're really doing. They don't want to feel it.
No, no, because they are using the left brain function as their master, and it's more in what we can get out of this world, right? Your outer world, rather than going into our inner world. Or do they even believe in creativity? And to me, it's all the divine feminine, and they can't get in touch with the feeling. Divine feminine side of them, of who they are, if they even have a soul. We don't know. There's so much out there. They could be cloned, they could be anything. They're already hooked up to the metaverse. So yeah. And I'm
I
surprised
I
how much.
actually just saw a video the other day of who's Drew Barrymore, her show, and she had the other two ladies that were in Charlie's Angels with her, and Cameron Diaz wasn't even there, even though she appeared to be there. She wasn't even there. Like, we have no idea if these people are even here, if what they're showing us is real.
Is it CGI'd, or you think? Or
Well, it could be CGI. It could be holograms. Cameron Diaz was also joking. Who knows if she's really joking about like teleportation and coming apart and coming back together and how it's a really tingly feeling and people have got to try it. And, you know, they'll tell us the truth in a joke. So it could be one of three things.
Yeah, yeah. Well, I'm surprised how many people are actually signing themselves over to the, what's it called, Lensia? The what are they called?
Is that AI thing where everybody's doing
Their
their
avatars.
face?
Their
Oh my God.
avatars. But I think right in the contract with that, I mean, I haven't read in depth, but a lot of people are talking about it, that it's actually signing yourself over to the metaverse. But I think they're already corralling people in that direction. See who is more easily given in over to AI, because you wouldn't see us doing it. You know, I took one look and I've never even done any one of those other avatars. I've actually quit going into any Facebook apps. You know how you used to do whatever, you know, what is your color? What chakra are you in?
Yeah.
There's
What
a
does
lot
your
of
animal
those.
say about you?
Yeah. So I did a few of those a couple of years ago, but I even quit all of that because I think they're tracking what we're doing. They know more about us than we know, what we're interested in. That's already there, and that's taking away from, you know, we got AI and then HI, right? Human intelligence or artificial intelligence. It says right there, who wants to be artificial? But if they can't get in touch with themselves, they are very artificial, not authentic to just being human, right?
Mm-hmm.
You know, and I think some of that perfectionism comes in there. People just want to be perfect, right? You know, they've been gearing us that, you know, with body shapes, with Botox and injections and, you know, just not to have wrinkles or whatever it is. It's covering up our real self, really.
Yeah. And we also know that I mean, we are aware that AI really is the inversion of what we are.
Yeah.
I mean, we are pure energy incarnated. And there are studies done by our government, the US government, about manifestation and how to get it done and like literally materialize something out of nothing. So they understand that we have those potentials. AI doesn't have that potential to make something out of nothing.
No, no. Or
You know,
being fluid,
we
right?
are the intelligence. We are the super consciousness.
Well, creator is a god, or a goddess, I should say. I think it's all one. You know, it's a balance between, flowing between the two, and that's what we're striving towards, right? Is bringing balance
Mm-hmm.
within ourselves. So, and we see that in the face, right? Face splits,
Mm-hmm.
and so I think what we can do is do a little bit of. I'll take you through the uh, PowerPoint with before and after pictures, but we can pick out a few faces and talk about how the energy shifted within a person going through the trainings, and give people a little bit more information and maybe understand what you're reading when you are doing the leaders, or so-called leaders.
Yeah.
uh, and you know, maybe after that we can talk a little bit where we're going into the new year, and yeah, because we're on the home run here with our end of the year. Like, where did another year go? I can't just, what
It's
happened?
just going faster and faster.
So let's jump in here. I'm going to do a screen share. Oops. There we go. So these are some of, I have permission to use these pictures. A lot of them are from, you know, I've been teaching so long, so we have These
Man,
are,
her change, her shift is incredible.
oh, I haven't seen this.
Which
This is a new PowerPoint. This is an old one I used to use, which is great because I think we did some that I put on a poster for some of the expos. Instead of doing all of the faces, we did just their before and after on the original face, right?
mhm.
So this is Brenda. So what are you seeing in her?
Well, which side is her, right or left, first of all? Is
Well,
the droopy side is what? The right or the left?
yeah, this is her other face, right?
Yeah, I can't read that far. Two. Okay, the right side is the droopy side. Okay, you can go back.
Yeah, this is her the original picture, the first one before she came in, and this is her
Hmm.
after picture. So yeah, it's this side.
Yeah.
It's the
I
masculine.
mean, first thing I obviously the first thing I noticed is the right side was really droopy before. Like, and really the whole energy of her face is coming down. And so a lot has been drained out of her. There's not only is she covering her masculine intelligence, like with her hair, she's brushing her hair to the right, like trying to hide it. But there's something about it where it's also probably dissociated because the whole left side of her face is drooping. So to me, that speaks of a deep dissociation.
Yeah, this is
Uh,
the right side, right? Can you see my
yeah.
mouse? Okay. That's her
So that feel
masculine. And
yeah, that go
she's
ahead.
kind of down on the mouth, right? She's probably
Yeah.
very critical of herself and, sneering a lot, you
You
know?
can see it in her cheek too. Like
Yeah.
the her cheek looks different on the right side. Um, I mean, she looks so much brighter on the right, like taking those bangs off her face, like you can just see the brightness of her face, the lightness.
Yeah. I mean, the
And
face shape stays about the same. Obviously, this after picture is closer up, right? It's a little
mhm.
bit bigger picture, but the face shape stays quite a bit the same. But she softens a lot. You can tell all her wrinkles, and she kind of is not so hard on herself. So the lip
Mhm.
actually lifts a bit. She's not down on the mouth, what we call. But look at the eyes, the warmth in the eyes here are
Yeah,
very cool and kind of guarded and calculating.
I was
And,
just gonna say calculating. Yeah.
and then she softens, and you can actually, the little white in the eyes, the little spark, it comes through. This is from a light. This is from her soul, how I see it.
Yeah, it almost looks like she has floating irises on that right side. I can't quite tell. Does she have floating irises?
Well, there's a lot of strain, so you have the white at the bottom. That's what they call stress, more so. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
Because if there's, I mean, if there's floating irises where it's like white and then the color, that shows like a lot of staying up in the mental
yeah.
and a lot of instability as well.
So this is her after. I mean, this is the before, the two right sides, and then the two left sides, and then again uh, after, where I've actually shown how we
Wow.
split a face. Yeah.
Wow. Like her masculine looks a lot more subdued in the lower one, in the updated one. And her feminine looks like she's lightened up and opened up.
There we go. That's better. Oh yeah, I mean, she fell in love with herself, so that's uh, now. And she was always in corporate, and now I think she's doing angel readings. I think over the internet, so for
Oh
people.
my gosh. What a change.
So this one, there's quite a difference again, right?
Yeah, I'm taking it in. I mean, the left side, she looks a little bit more intense and angry. And on the right, I can see her eyes looking a little bit brighter. On the right, her mouth looks more strained, like she's trying to keep her words together. Whereas on the left, I do see it relaxed more. Although on the right, the downturn lines are gone. So on the left, there's a lot of sadness, a lot of heaviness and heartache, probably. And on the right, you can see that those lines are uh, they're shifting. So there's a little bit more lightness, more happiness and joy.
Yeah, this
She
is the
also,
left. This is, yeah, this is her after picture, the one on the right. When we're looking at the screen, I'm just wondering how people are seeing it. Would it be
yeah, it's on the right
okay?
for me as well. Yeah. Um, it looks like she's also getting some of her voice back because you can see her eyebrows in the right one. I don't know if she colors them or if she's
Yeah.
just starting to get her voice back. But on the left, there's like barely any eyebrows. And even though they're still thin on the right, they're filling in. So she's starting to express more.
Or framing out her eyes a little more. So, we encourage people to, use eyebrow pencil so that a person is a lot more approachable when their eyes are framed out. They're they're warmer, right? Where the other is,
Hmm.
yeah. So this is more her before and after. Oh,
Yeah. Wow. The one up top, she just looks like weighed down, sluggish, like losing, not feeling like this desire to like get herself up and out of life, right? Whereas on the right, or on the bottom, she looks definitely more hopeful.
oh yeah, more life coming, and look at the softness that's come in, and yeah, just
She's also looking straight on, like in the top one, she's leaning towards, it looks like, what is that, the right? She's leaning towards the right.
yeah, she's turned her
So
head slightly, yeah.
yeah, so listening more to that masculine voice, turning away from the sensitivity, whereas in the bottom one, she's looking life in the face. She's
Straight
direct.
on.
Yeah.
Well, sometimes, when I'm taking these pictures, like the before pictures especially, is that's how they're portraying themselves. You can't, I'll hold their head straight and turn it this way or that way. And as soon as I go to take a picture, it just slightly goes off again. But then after a while, you just say, hey, that's how they're looking at the world. I just run with that, right?
Yeah. That's how
So,
they're looking at the world.
yeah. Here's another one. This is look at the balance. Look at how she pulled in she is, and she had a lot of hair coming in on her hairline here. We waxed that all out, so it brings a lot
Opened up her
more.
frame of mind.
Right. It also the the face becomes more symmetrical because her mental zone is quite closed in from because we count just what is clear, right? Not where hair comes in. And so we have opened up her face, and that's where she becomes more symmetrical. And because we waxed off the temple area, and this would have meant she came right from the very top here down. It wasn't just in the temple area, which you have a lot of men will just have temple that we take out. So that's coming from someone sewed a thinking cap on her and told her who and how and what to think, because it's not blocking the observational lobe, it's blocking memory and imagination. Often men will hang up, if it's just in the temple area where the hair comes in, that's just usually in the memory lobe. So we can tell this is coming very deep, almost from hereditary closed mindedness, and mom and
Mm,
dad are still talking in her head, right? And
hmm.
it's from old belief systems. So when we open that up, it opens up their lets go of memory of the past, and then the imagination can open up to new possibilities when we look
Mm.
at the three uh, regions of the forehead.
Even her eyebrows have lifted. I mean, she just looks way down in that top one. I mean, look how heavy those eyelids are. The eyebrows are really thick. The hair's coming in. She's like closing in on herself, right? But that bottom one, her eyebrows lift, her eyes look brighter.
Yeah, what happens there, Kelly, too, is for everyone to understand is a lot of people say, "Oh my God, it's like I've had an eye lift," because those heavy thoughts draws down, and soon as you can let them go, it's like it's fresh and clean. That's like you ever waxed your legs or shaved your legs and walk out in the wind. It feels so much lighter and airy. And so that's what happens. And a lot of people, they feel immediately that their thoughts aren't so heavy on their mind. So it actually opens up their heart a lot more, where the eyes are is the heart
Mm,
chakra, right? So
yeah.
that's where the lids actually aren't as heavy because we took off a lot of this old, uh, let's call them weeds from the past. You know, it's
Yeah. I feel like her lips got bigger too, especially that top lip. So maybe opening up that imagination and maybe opening up that imagination will have also opened up her creativity because that
ab- yeah,
upper lip is bigger.
absolutely, because she's not thinking as much. She's more in her body. She's more in her true self. So I guess that's all I got. I only put three. This is an old one. I thought I had the right. I didn't go through the PowerPoint, but this is, I think, uh, well, that tells us quite a bit already, right? I mean, that's
Mm-hmm.
so when we are reading a face, the first thing we look at is for everyone is overall face shape, and then prominent feature. What's the feature that stands out in this person that jumps
Mm-hmm.
out immediately? And so, what would you say Brenda would be?
Um, I would say her face looks more square. There's a little bit of roundedness on the side, but it definitely looks more square to me with the hairline too.
Yeah.
So she's probably very practical, down to earth, likes things in order, maybe not as open-minded as well, not as flexible. Like when she makes up her mind, that's what it is. It's going to
Oh,
be
yeah.
really hard to change it.
Spot on. She's also she's like a doer rather than a thinker. Also, like she'll just get in there and do it, and let's get the job done.
And that's where that wide jaw comes in, that in the
Yeah.
square face. These people are very physical, down to earth, get their hands, their feet into things.
But prominent feature, what would you say that would be?
Um, I mean, her largest feature is her nose to me, but her lips stand out the most. And I just see someone who's had a very challenging life. Like the where her body, where her face is holding the stress is in the mouth, and you can see it with all the vertical lines and the wrinkles around it. It's
Yeah,
she's been gripping and holding and biting her lip and just getting it done, even though she may not be feeling great about it.
absolutely. Yeah, so and then just run through, we don't have to discuss each one, but then we look at uh, hairline and then forehead, what part of the forehead is, what type of forehead. We go with, tend to have three zone or regions of the forehead that I talked about earlier, which is observation, right here. That's why someone puts a baseball hat on, because it's a visor. So it keeps us very much in the moment. And then a lot of people with a dome forehead would be a long-term memory recall. So they process things through the past. And then the top part is imagination, straight up and down. So yeah, so it's like we can tell type of person the way they think. So yeah, you could tell when a husband and wife are in a shopping mall or something, and the you know woman with the straight up and down forehead, she'll want to go to 15 stores, and her husband has sloping back forehead. He's right in the moment. Why can't you just buy that, right? And you might as well go park him outside and tell him to watch traffic or something while you go shop. So when you understand people, you can it's you understand what their interests are, but also how they process things. And so, yeah, I was talking to a realtor the other day and just saying how you would describe someone through foreheads or like talk to a client through just the way their forehead. So someone that's very observant, in the moment, in the present moment, they just, what's the bottom line here? Like, what's the price and what are the terms, right?
Yeah,
Where
give me the details later.
yeah, get into them later. And someone with a dome forehead, you might want to give them the whole history of the house. This is what happened. It was built then, and when they did some renovations, and blah 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 blah. Where someone with a straight up and down forehead, you would probably talk to that client is, well, just imagine if you opened this wall up into French doors and you could build a beautiful garden over here, and the kitchens, you just have to do this. So it's their imagination. You take them into the future, not the past, right? They don't want to know all the renovations. They want to know what they can do moving forward. So, I mean, to use face reading in business is amazing. Yeah, so that's the forehead. Then we look at eyebrows. Eyebrows is the throat chakra, how we express ourselves. It's the most uh, mobile besides the mouth is the eyebrows, and the lips is the most mobile part of the face, and expressive because you lift your eyebrows with bright idea, right? And we want these forehead lines. Don't Botox. We want to develop these, right? Because the first line is the moon line, which is intuition. And then we've got Mercury, communication, Venus, love of physical pleasure, and then the Apollo line is your ambition. Anything more than 3, 4 lines, you're thinking too much. So
Uh-oh, I might have more than 3 or 4 lines.
yeah. Well, but we understand it, right?
Yeah.
Or they can go to higher limits, right? But we want these as much as possible. You want the lines even and unbroken, because you can tell that the communication between left and right brain functions then. There's so much in the face, right?
So much in the face.
Yeah. I mean, when you
Yeah, with
go
her
in depth, when you really study, right? And yeah. What were you going to say?
with I was just gonna say with her eyebrows, we can see that she doesn't express a lot because they're very thin.
Yeah. Well, sometimes they can't differentiate between what they're thinking and what they're feeling, the thin eyebrows. The thicker the eyebrows, the more enthusiasm for what they want to do, right? So it's a bigger
Yeah.
frame, put it that way. And um, yeah, and so then we look at also the direction of the eyebrow. Does it go straight up and then come down? Or I know people don't understand it sometimes, is they'll draw or tattoo eyebrows on, but they'll take this line way out here, then go down a bit, which you really want the peak of the eyebrow right over the middle of the eyeball is like an ideal energy flow between the thought going up to the mental and then connecting it to the emotional zones. So here again, there's so much to teach when it comes to eyebrows too. And in the eyes, like we talked about her cool eyes. That's cool and calculating, sort of icy blue, versus the warmth, it's more Caribbean blue, which is, she has a much, blue eyes is a compassionate way of thinking. And here she brings a lot more compassion within herself and for herself, I should say. And the warmer the blue, the more warmer the thoughts, where brown eyes is more a compassionate way of feeling. It's coming from feelings versus thoughts internally. And her nose, yeah, her nose is a little bit, this side's got a little bit of a fuck you, how it
Comes up like a snarl.
yeah, like a snarl. You can see it lifting, you can see it right in here. And this could be a little bit of her her feminine side is saying fuck you to the masculine side. Right?
Yeah, I also feel like with that nostril coming up more, I mean, it looks uneven in the before picture. When I see a nostril being pulled up, I mean, nose is solar plexus, so it's almost like a holding back or a pulling back of that energy. And maybe that's where that fuck you is coming from, because she's like, stop holding me back.
Yeah,
Let
and
me out.
that's that nostril. It's usually right above the eye tooth, which is the fang tooth. When a dog snarls, it that tooth is actually connected to the liver meridian, and so it's connected to some buried anger and probably something she wouldn't speak. Like she'll internalize it, and then
I mean,
so then it just goes, very slight, and that road has been traveled quite a few times.
she says the road's been traveled quite a few times because of how deep that groove is on her face.
Here.
And we can see she holds a lot inside in multiple places, like the thin eyebrows, underexpressed, the heavy set eyelids, being weighed down by her thoughts and emotions, the tiny lips that don't express but swallow the words instead. So we're seeing it all over her face, like underexpressed.
Yeah. Yeah, so then we look at the nose, of course, that's the solar plex, and the lips is the sacral chakra, and then jawbone and chin is the base chakra. So usually you can see this all coordinated throughout the body too. Like we'll see it not just in the face, we'll see it sometimes in the feet or the hands, that is saying a lot of the same things, or of course, in the body itself. But once they balance it out, and they start using the mechanics of the body, everything they've taught, everything they've gone through and processed, some old stuff, patterns that they can see within their physical body, the muscles will let go, and they start to feel more balanced within themselves. And that's how the face changes. And that's how people can change so much. They're transforming the physical body, and that is part of the awakening to a better version of ourselves. And that's where the work is. A lot of people think it's still just meditating or thinking of transformation or beating the government or whatever it is. But the work has to be done internally in our life, looking. And the whole life review, let's say like in body awakening method, you do a whole life review and suddenly you see your own patterns, right? And then you have something to work with. So many people are stabbing in the dark. What do I do? Where do I go? How do I transform your outer world? No, it's got to be your inner world and get aligned to our body itself, and then our outer world will start aligning to our true purpose. And at least through my experience, by understanding, of course, psychosomatically what everything means, understanding spiritual mathematics through destiny numbers, and then through galactic signature, that is all in alignment. It's a pathway of finding out who we are and what our bigger purpose is. And that alignment brings in the synchronicities and the right people in our lives to move forward. So we all have a lot of work to do as we're going through this time right now, and I believe this is one of the most sacred keys is finding that freedom within ourselves, our sovereignty, and stand in that, and stand in our truth, and use our whole body as an expression. And it's all alignment. To me, it's the great alignment. We keep coming back. It's the great alignment. How do we align to these higher frequencies that are coming in, and the higher vibrations is coming in from the life force, and the light source is frequency. It's like the electromagnetic field coming together, but it's vibrating through the Mother Earth energy, and then allowing the frequencies to join in and dance together between, we can talk electromagnetic, but we can also talk frequencies and vibrations.
Yeah, and we are our own biofeedback system. I mean, we have this in our language already. How we'll say things like "Don't press my button," or "She knows how to push my button." Well, the truth is we are also able to press our buttons, right? If we are this biofeedback system, and our body is a manifestation of the consciousness of what we've lived through, well, then if I start pressing my buttons differently and manipulating my energetic field differently, then what gets put out into the world is different. How people feel me, what I create, it all shifts.
Absolutely. And I think this is going to be 2023 is going to be a huge year of that. I think we have enough information as far as what's going on in the world, uh, and the lies that we've been told. And now it's coming back to our own true power. And we have been, I mean, knowledge is power, but wisdom is truth. And that comes through the experience of the body. The body has the wisdom, where the brain can have the knowledge. As we say, like, I would rather learn about business from someone that has gone bankrupt 4 times than learn from some professor that's never even run a business, right?
Exactly.
So, School of Hard Knocks, we're all going through it, and we're wide awake to it this time. And now it's really time to really work on ourselves. I think people have seen where their power has been taken away, and now we have to just rise up. It's rising up within ourselves and allow that life force to come through us. So I think next year is going to be a huge year for psychosomatic therapy. And to me, it's one of the, there's still people trying to do it through massage or manicures or pedicures, self-care. It's or tapping, it's external stuff. And we need to find it's through breath and expansion and alignment within ourselves, and releasing the old stories. But we have to dig up the old stories first before we can let them go, because there's still so much running in the subconscious mind behind us. If you want to call Akashic records, I mean, that's the back of the head is the Akashic records. So yeah, so Kelly, I think this is probably enough. What's in it for the new year? What's in it for your Christmas? Well, I don't do Christmas. I quit 25 years ago. But
I don't really celebrate it either. I don't like actively make plans. I do have a friend that is having a dinner or a lunch at our house. So I'll be going to that. But I just feel like most holidays are fake anyways, and just another way to take our energy, attention, and money. And I don't like giving it away, especially for free. And then not quite ready to announce it, but there is a big move coming. I'll be announcing it in the new year. And yeah, just wrapping up creating my program, and we're going to be doing some things together very soon.
yes.
So lots in the pipeline. And to your point, Carol, I really believe that psychosomatics, body language is the key. It is the key. for everything. And I'm not exaggerating. I'm being completely literal at this point, because the body language is the roadmap to discovering why you are the way you are, and how to unravel from it, and how to align to your truth. And once you understand body language, you also see how nature and circumstances in life start collaborating with your soul to give you the message that you didn't get the first time, with your own inner tutor, with your own intuition. And so what is so powerful about body language is, what people are going to understand is everything, every single thing is for us, and every single thing is an act of love for us. And it's learning to tune into that language. So I see body language as the reconciliation to ourselves, to nature, and to God.
Yeah, absolutely. It's also, I mean, everything's about communication, right? And we understand that. Well, NLP, they say 55% is body language. We say 63 psychosomatically. 30% is voice tone and inflection of voice tone. And then a merely 7% is the spoken word. And how many people, they don't understand that language. They're still just in English. Where I live in Costa Rica, it's Spanish, and people say, and I do a lot of acting out what I want, right? And here again, people ask me how many languages I speak. Well, I speak 3, but I'm eliminating one. Body language is number 1, Starbucks is number 2, and English is number
Starbucks.
3. But I've taken out Starbucks. I don't want their language anymore. So, yeah, we're all reading each other at a subconscious level. That's why we want to really read consciously, and then you can really understand another person in a different light and see all their beautiful qualities. A lot of people say, well, what's my negative qualities? I said, well, we're really trained to see people's beautiful qualities. That's really what we like to focus on. And that's how you learn what your gifts are, because it is written in the body. It's in the formation. And we can see people's intuitive, psychic, if you want to call it, or their telecommunication skills, like telepathy. And it's written in the lips, in the eyebrows. There's certain things in the ears. When the inner cup is stronger than the outer cup, you can tell if someone's clairaudio, clairvoyant, or clairsentient, or claircognizant. So yeah, it's those qualities that people need to understand about them, and why they are in the shape they are in, and what those gifts are. So, and then they can run with that. Like
There's endless ways to apply this. I mean,
yeah.
to parents who want to be a good role models and good encouragers towards their children. Like, if you read who they are, then you're able to consciously love them. Same with a partner or a lover. You see who they are, you're able to consciously love them. And same with ourselves. Instead of playing whack-a-mole with, oh, let's try this, well, let's try this, oh, let's try this, like nothing's working, where we can just pull the roadmap out and be like, well, this is what it's asking for, so I'm going to give it that.
Yeah. Well, and we bring the best out in ourselves, but we can also bring the best out in others by seeing who they are. And we all have challenges, and really this work teaches compassion for ourselves first, and then for others. So, okay, well.
There's one other thing I wanted to say, because you had said 63% was body language, something else was intonation and tone.
Voice.
And yeah, and I actually want to submit that even our tone of voice and how our voice sounds is body language, right? Like we were talking about it when we're talking about Bill Gates being all up in his head and his little mousy voice stuck right here. Or we see somebody with like a really raspy voice, they've had a challenging life, right? So I'd say 93% is body language, 7% is
Absolutely.
words.
Yeah.
If you don't
Well,
know body language, you're living life at a handicap.
yeah, absolutely. And to find their voice, I mean, to be, because a person can have really good posture, but then they'll just talk like this and, but they have to, when you can find your voice and allow yourself to express in a different way from a place of power, people listen. They don't listen and this isn't shouting, it's about amplifying from the inside out. So
Mm-hmm.
yeah, so great that you're including some of the like the sounds too, because we are all just sound and color. That's all we
Mm-hmm.
are, sound
We're
and
frequency. The universe speaks frequency. So body language is learning to read that frequency.
yeah. So what we have coming up on the 30th, where Kelly and I will be on a show, the Renegade Media, and we're doing another kind of marathon. And to end the year with some really positive notes from some great speakers, we will be joining Robert. And you will get the information if you, especially if you sign in on my website, if you don't already have the guidebook, which is The Body Never Lies, you can go on to thelightworkersinstitute.com and sign up for there. And there will be an email, a few emails coming out just before the show, probably around the 28th, to give you all the details. And yeah, it's going to be interesting and to bring our heads together, and we're all co-creating this new earth and what we want to see. And hey, we've started it in Costa Rica already, you know, heaven and earth. We've seen the vision for a long time, and now it's just manifesting it. And I think we have enough information and enough stuff that's going on in the world, even though it's very interesting to see how we've been duped. Yeah, and the truth will bring power and
Mm-hmm.
wake more people up. And I think we have only touched the top of the iceberg of what's coming. 2023, we need to be in full power. So yeah, and we'll be doing a lot more shows with themes coming in the new year. I did do something on the Truthathon that I still need to fill out a little bit more, and Kelly and I'll get into that first thing in the new year. I'd love to bring that one out, but I want to add a lot more going into about the divine feminine. And yeah, Lucifer. I think Lucifer is a female.
I'm so excited to hear
Yeah,
this.
yeah. And we can bring on Mary Jane. We've got thousands of documents about Lucifer and the mitochondria. So yeah. Anyways, Kelly, you have a wonderful uh, holiday
So
season,
Wednesday.
holy day season,
Yeah, holy season. You
holy
as
season.
well.
Yes, with a W, not with an H. And yeah, we will connect in the new at the before the 30th and give you all the details. And watch for more stuff coming on Telegram, the Lightworkers Institute. Kelly and I are the only ones. Oh, Agnieszka does post a little bit there. So we don't get watered down. Some of the channels is just so much stuff, you know. You haven't been on, there's
Mm-hmm.
so too many people posting. We keep ours pretty clean, more what interests us, and then Kelly posts your stuff. And Instagram, you're on Instagram. How can they find you besides Telegram?
Yeah, at Kelly Love Rewilding. So all the videos that I put in Telegram, they're on my Instagram as well, plus additional posts. And my stuff stays pretty focused on psychosomatics. So if you're desiring any knowledge, that's where to go.
Wonderful. Okay, well, we'll see everyone out there and have a wonderful time with family and just stand in truth. And we don't have to. Sometimes silence is golden too, but it's in our posture that we don't have to bring challenges to this time of the year. We all have our own opinions, and I think this year we should just stand in it and no words are necessary then. So,
Mhm.
but
Stand
people,
in it. Be about it.
okay,
All
and
right. Have a beautiful day.
you too. Mwah.